Welcome to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor on this very special 100th episode of Winning Retirement Television.
Woo-hoo!
Kristen, can you believe it, Greg?
Put on the party hats.
Confetti poppers.
Oh my goodness.
We hit 100 episodes.
Hard to believe.
That's amazing.
I want to go back to like the very first episode that we filmed together and replay that and just take a look at it. Because I remember the day that I met the two of you and I'm like, oh my gosh, what an amazingly beautiful couple.
Aww.
And then getting to know you both through the years, you're just as genuine in person as you are on TV. So to the folks at home, if you're wondering, are Greg and Kristen Taylor really this amazing in real life? And if you work with them, the answer is yes. I'm honored and very blessed to call them my friends. And so thank you for joining us on this 100th episode.
Well, let's just be honest. She's beautiful. I just make it a couple.
Oh my.
Oh my goodness, the two of you. See, it's like this all the time. Well, today's episode obviously being very special, the
Yes.
100th episode, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Americans and savings right now. So there was a report that was recently put out by bankrate.com, and it says that 82% of adults said that they did not contribute to their emergency savings this year. 60% said that they feel behind when it comes to building a cash cushion. So the question is, how much should you have inside of your savings and outside of your retirement account? Like, what does that look like? How do you have that balance?
We call that the sleep well at night account.
Okay.
The SWAN
Yes.
account, if you will. And it's different for everyone. It's so hard to answer that question. I think Greg on the show has mentioned several times, and of course at our practice he mentions that, you know, he'd like to see at least 50,000, maybe 100,000 for some families. But that number really is different depending on how much you've saved overall and your comfort level. I think that plays a big part into it. And that's always a shocking thing for families that come in and meet with us because they've heard so many times, no, you should invest it all. You should have your money working for you. And that's true. That's true. But, you know, you also want to move forward through your retirement years confidently and without anxiety and without those feelings of fear that the money's not going to be there when you need it.
Okay.
Now, let's kind of address the elephant in the room here. Doesn't it seem a little bit backwards that when interest at the bank was 0.10%, we were putting more into savings?
That's
and
true.
now that most savings is paying over 4%, we're putting in less.
Interesting. Why is that?
Well, of course, there was probably more money available to have in savings when it was 0.1.
Okay.
And now that savings rates are higher, we don't have as much to put in.
Okay.
And because inflation's been crazy.
Ah, good point.
You know, I mean, the grocery store doesn't sound fun. I
No.
mean, Kristen sent me for a few things a few weeks ago. It's almost $200, and I'm thinking, this is snacks for the football game. This is snacks for, you know, stuff that we're doing with the kids. And I mean,
This isn't your weekly grocery
yeah, I mean,
list.
it was
Yeah.
depressing.
Crazy. I know. You're right, though.
It really was. And then you go fill up your gas tank, and
Yes.
okay, that, you know, with my car, it takes premium, and so it's nearly $100, and that's kind of depressing. And I said, no wonder people aren't putting money in savings, because this inflation has gotten out of hand, and it's crazy, and it's really hard for people to get that money in savings. But
Of course.
a solid retirement financial plan begins with what we have in savings.
Okay.
So, and this is different between a financial plan when you're 30 versus a retirement financial plan.
Okay.
When you're 30, you need to, obviously you need to have that emergency fund, but that emergency fund is quite a bit smaller. You know, you just need it in case something goes out, you know, you have a few emergencies, things like that. And why? Because you're continuing to work.
True.
Okay? And so your real goal there is to build wealth over time. So if you have extra dollars, you want that invested. You want that money set in there so it can grow over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And so you want as much in that type of account as you possibly can.
Okay.
However, when you're transitioning into retirement now, it's the survival of the fittest, right? We need this to last 20 or 30 years without working a job.
Yes.
With that in mind, the first leg of that, the first stage of your retirement financial plan is your savings. Now, once we've got that in place, then we're going to talk about, okay, how do we provide enough income? Because income is where we live. It's how we pay our bills. It's how we go on vacation. It's how we do things for the family. It's how we have, the big Christmas dinners and Thanksgiving dinners and, all those things that we want to do. That's part of who we are, the fabric of our families.
Absolutely.
And so having that income plan for your retirement plan, that's part of your financial plan, is so very, very important as well. And what we're trying to accomplish with that is to tie up the least amount of assets as possible to accomplish the income we need.
Okay.
And so we have to think, okay, how are we going to do this? There are protected tools, and I'll give you an example. We met with a family probably about 6 months ago. They had saved just over $1 million, done a really good job, and they needed an additional $30,000 a year to meet the lifestyle needs for retirement.
Okay.
And so that was going to be in a 2-year span. So we had 2 years to have that plan work in their favor and get ready. And so with that, it took about $400,000 to generate this plan for them. And I said, okay, now we've got that set aside. Now we have over $600,000 for growth, and they already had set aside in bank accounts about $75,000. So for them, we took a portion of what they had for income, and now we've got the rest for growth. And that third leg, or that third portion of a retirement financial plan, is your growth strategy.
Okay.
And this is where we have to really sit down with the family and understand what they're comfortable with between how much it can gain and how much it can lose, and what they truly feel is necessary for their long-term goals. And when we do that, we want to take on the least amount of risk to accomplish their goals. With all those three in place, we now have a retirement financial plan.
And really what that comes down to is that you want to have a plan so people have confidence, Kristen, that they won't run out of money. Is that still the number one fear that you're hearing from a lot of people that are coming in?
Absolutely, it is. And not only that, when we're dealing with inflation like we're dealing with right now, we can see that those savings dollars are there to kind of give a little oomph to the account, to that income, so that you don't have to dip into those investment accounts as the market's being volatile on top of everything else. We're dealing with kind of a triple whammy right now, I feel like.
We are.
There's so many things, so many irons happening that, affect our personal finances all at once. So having that there and having that peace of mind is really important.
Well, Greg and Kristen, it's time for us to take our very first commercial break. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen. The number is 614-336-7660. What you're calling in for today is a written financial plan. If you're in the viewing audience today and you're asking yourself, have I saved enough? Do I have enough to retire with confidence? Do I have enough to retire with clarity? Will I run out of money? How do I avoid that? Well, this is the perfect opportunity for you to call in to obtain your very own written financial plan. The number is 614-336-7660. If you don't have a pen handy, that's okay. Grab your smartphone. You can click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Legacy Retirement Group's landing page, and you can book your time accordingly. Again, we understand that you've worked your entire life to get to the retirement years. Greg and Kristen would like you to have peace of mind as you navigate those years. Let them help you and be on this path together. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere on this very special 100th episode of Winning Retirement Television. Stay tuned.
We know the market is going to get worse from here. This is the biggest monthly decline in 10 years. People's 401ks took a major hit.
Well, my investments are tanking. My retirement isn't going as planned. I can't believe I let my kid talk me into buying crypto. I mean, what is that anyway?
This was the fourth worst contraction in history.
So how are you two doing?
Your financial future doesn't have to be uncertain. I'm Kristen Taylor with Legacy Retirement Group. If you've amassed a nest egg, it's time for a financial advisor to help you reach your retirement goals. This is one of the greatest tax windows in history. Now is the time to take advantage of this tax discount while you can. We specialize in retirement planning, tax mitigation, estate planning, and much, much more. Plan your retirement right. Call right now for your own complimentary portfolio review and tax analysis.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined with Greg and Kristen Taylor today on our 100th episode. Thank you for being with us on this very special day. So Greg and Kristen, I ran into a friend of mine the other day. He's an engineer, and he said he has a
So sometimes it's play, and sometimes it's like, okay, let's get it on, let's do this. I think I can do it better. But in reality, first of all, we have to have a desire to do it ourselves. If we have that desire to do it ourselves, let's face it, nobody cares about our money more than we do. Mm-hmm. So I think that's healthy to want to do some of it on your own.
Okay.
And to whether, have that account that you really feel like, okay, I could lose it all and it's not going to impact my ability to be retired. And that amount's different for everybody.
It is.
It really is. So I have some clients, they have $10,000 they play with. Others that have $50,000 they play with. I've got a client that has $500,000 he plays with. And that's his thing. And for one, those that are used to doing it, it's going to be a void if they don't. So I always encourage people, if you enjoy this, you follow it, it's a passion of yours, by all means, keep doing it. Just figure out what amount feels comfortable.
Well, you have to ask two questions. Yeah. How much can I afford to lose and how much am I willing to lose, right?
That's true.
Good
While
point.
you're doing that. So I don't know if it was a video or something one night where this guy was eating all these hot peppers, and it was progressively getting, I don't know what the levels are with peppers, but this is a whole thing people do. I don't know why it's fun,
I know.
but
I
couldn't
agree.
do that.
Me
Yeah.
either.
So he's eating all these peppers and he gets to this highest level and he's like, I got this, I can do this. And then the video cuts to him in a hospital bed.
Oh my
because he had
gosh.
sent himself over the threshold. He couldn't take it anymore. And I think that analogy works so well with do-it-yourselfing and investing, because I saw it during COVID. A lot of our clients had those accounts where they were doing stuff and they come in almost braggadocious about, what it was doing, and then, the rug was ripped out from under them, right?
Yes.
And they didn't feel too good about it. Now, most of them were okay. Again, it was play money, but what if it's all the money you have?
Yes, that's scary.
It's like basically going to that craps table I think Greg talked about a few weeks back, and
Yes.
and playing all your cards at once and realizing you could possibly lose everything at once. So making sure that you're able to stomach it, like the guy with the peppers.
Absolutely.
Right? Stomach those losses and afford them.
Well, for sure. And, with guys, we do some of the dumbest things.
True.
Just for the sake of doing something that somebody else won't do.
I have 3 boys.
Okay.
I can attest.
Oh my goodness. And it starts at such a young age. We have videos that we pull up on our phones of when the boys were little and they're wrestling in the hallway, and
We've had pans thrown up on ceiling fans in the great room,
Yes.
and all kinds of fun
Just
things.
to watch them spin around.
Yes. Yes.
One came up the other day of Christian, and we had this thing when they were little, and after they got their baths and they got their jammies on, and we would, have our Bible time in the hallway and things like that. And Christian's wrapped up as tight as he can in a blanket, and he's going like this, and he's like, I'm a caterpillar, I'm a caterpillar. I was just cracking up. But some of the craziest things we do. Well, it's okay to be crazy with a part of what we have, but a retirement plan should really be designed to give, first of all, confidence.
Absolutely.
And confidence comes from a number of things. First of all, knowing that every area has been paid attention to. And when I say every area, we've looked at investments, we've looked at the income need, we've looked at taxes, we've paid attention to the health care that can happen, because a lot of people don't realize this. Without long-term care, the average person will spend over $250,000 on health care during their retirement.
Wow.
This is not nursing home or home care or assisted living. This is just all the health care stuff.
Wow. Okay.
All the normal stuff, you know, and so that can be a real thing. So paying attention to health care, and then whatever's left over in our legacy plan. So that's all part of it. And once we have all those things addressed, and by the way, they're never all completely done because life always changes.
Sure.
But as we always say, it's a living, breathing organism, whether it be your investment plan, that can shift over time. Your income plan, you may have different needs and desires over time, and we need to adjust for that. Taxes will always be changing, so we need to make sure we adjust our tax plan. Also, the healthcare and legacy plan. So with that, when that's in place, we can have confidence, we can have peace of mind, and we can feel that security that we want by having a plan. And the plan should address the top three concerns.
Sure.
It should
Sure.
address the fear of outliving our money
Okay.
and give us confidence that we're not going to. It should address stock market volatility and make sure that we're not taking more risk than we're comfortable with. And it should address taxes, because I do believe that future taxes could be the number one biggest problem that retirees face.
That makes perfect sense. And when you think about it, obviously, you cannot eliminate all of the fears, but you can help to mitigate them with the proper plan.
Yes. And that's really the goal, because if we can mitigate them, if we can take away the fear of outliving the income by having a protected income plan.
Yeah, none of us have a crystal ball. We can't pre-plan for every potential risk, political risk. None of us knew the pandemic would happen.
That's true.
You know, you have that. So all these risks that happen, you can't control. Control what you can control. I tell the boys that all the time when they're upset about something. Take care of what you have access to handle. And one of the areas when it comes to retirement is having that plan in place. It's not going to change where life goes, but it'll give you some confidence that you can get through it.
That makes perfect sense. Well, I know we're going to take our second commercial break, but I have to share with you, it's not just boys that do things that are silly. So Ariana, when she was young, our home in Ohio, up in the Highland Heights area, we had a laundry chute.
Oh,
And
no.
let me tell you all the things that went down only because she wanted to hear them hit the bottom. So it's not just boys, it's girls too. We had Barbies coming out of there wrapped in towels, and I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. So it was silly. It made me laugh too. I was like,
Yes.
are you kidding
Yeah,
me? What's
yeah.
this Barbie and Ken doing in the laundry chute? To our viewers at home, there's a number to call on your screen. That number is 614-336-7660. We realize that you're in the viewing audience today and you're wondering, am I taking too much risk? Am I going to be okay for retirement? How do I know? What Greg and Kristen are offering you today is the Portfolio X-Ray. Let them do a deep dive into what you currently have in place for your retirement. And if you are taking too much risk, wouldn't you want to know today? We have such uncertain times ahead. Greg has mentioned the taxes are going up. That's going to be one thing we're combating. Kristen has mentioned inflation. All of these things can derail your retirement without the proper plan in place. So please don't miss the opportunity to call in and to book that beautiful Portfolio X-Ray appointment. 614-336-7660. Go ahead, grab your smartphone, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Legacy Retirement Group's landing page. We're going to take a very short commercial break on this very special 100th episode of Winning Retirement TV, but I'll be back with so much more with Greg and Kristen Taylor.
Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Ben. Hey, birthday party for Carolyn 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you. can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group on this very special 100th episode. Kristen and Greg, I know a lot of people are in the viewing audience today, and they're wondering, what is it going to feel like when they work with an advisor in your practice? Because obviously they probably have a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. So I should ask you, what documents do they bring? How long does it take? And what does it feel like overall when someone's coming in for the very first time? What can they expect?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, we recognize that it's a difficult decision to open yourself up. I mean, finances has been historically a taboo topic, right? It's like talking about things that, you know, aren't that comfortable, make you feel a little weird, maybe make you feel a little exposed.
Yeah.
So we do try to keep that in mind as we're looking through the documents you've brought in, and like you asked, what documents would you bring in? Well, it starts with a phone call. That's what it starts with, either going to our website or calling our office at 614-336-7660, or going right to our website. And when you go to legacyretirementgroup.com, you're actually able to schedule an appointment right from the website now, or a discovery call. And I wanted to bring that up, Cynthia, because sometimes people don't know if they're even really ready to sit down with an advisor.
That's true.
And so I think the process starts really with the conversation before you even walk through the door.
Good point.
And typically that conversation happens with Jessica in our office, and she does a fabulous job of making sure to try to hear what the concerns are and see what makes sense for your family as you're trying to decide whether it's time to come in and meet with us or not. And then from there, you schedule an appointment with our team and come into our office. And the first appointment is actually the most fun for me.
Okay.
Because I often will go up to people out and about, and I call myself an introverted extrovert. I'm actually an introvert, but I do love hearing people's stories. I love kind of getting the tea. I like understanding what it is that makes them tick, what's important to them about their money. When we sit down with families, we learn all kinds of things that they're interested in and businesses that they've run. That's the most rewarding part of what we do. So we go through that process of sitting down and gathering that information. And at the same time, you're deciding if you like us as a firm, or Greg or Brent, who also is an advisor at our office, and making that connection and seeing if it's a fit. Because Cynthia, we've done 100 shows now together.
I know.
If we sat down those first couple shows and you didn't agree with what we had to say, it wouldn't have been a fit, right?
And vice versa. If I wasn't the person that you wanted to be as the host, you would have been like, I'm sorry, Cynthia, this isn't working.
That's it. That's it. And it's not a personal thing. It's just not a matchup. So we figure out if that's a fit. And then from there, we start to gather those pieces of information from the documents you brought in, those statements for accounts, all your stuff, if you will.
Sure.
You know, 401k, IRAs, different documents, understanding where you're at as far as age goes, and healthcare concerns and legal concerns, all those things. And then Greg takes it to our analysis team. So it's not just the Legacy Retirement Group show. We have a whole team behind us that is there to help through the process of creating that plan.
Yeah, so you can say we listen because we want to know what's important to the people that come in. I mean,
absolutely.
Truly, what's important to you is what's most important about that first visit. Really expressing the things you want your retirement to look like. You know, Cynthia, it's all over the place too, people's goals and dreams. We have one client, he couldn't wait to retire so that he could build a barn by hand. When I say by hand, there's not a nail or a screw in this barn. It's got like the wood dowels, and I mean,
oh my gosh.
it's like an old Amish built barn that he did by hand, and he was so excited to spend his time building this barn. So for him, and he and I, and he and his wife and Kristen and I are huge Disney fans. And actually, it's Disney's 100th year, and I almost feel like Mickey and Minnie should be running out,
We don't own the
for this
rights.
100th show. You know.
We don't own the rights.
No, we do not own the rights. Yeah, that's right. No cease and desist here.
Yeah.
But really, that's what it's all about, is listening.
Yes.
And helping people take that vision, just like an architect would take your vision for a home and draw it out. That's kind of what we want to do with people's retirement dreams. We want to hear and listen what you want it to look like. Now we can test. That second thing we do, first we listen, then we test to see if, okay, something's slipping through the cracks here. Mm-hmm. And then we create your vision. We create your plan. That's where it goes on paper. That's where you create the plans, if you would, for that financial house that you're trying to build. And it's all laid out step by step by step. And I think the biggest concern, I know me, when people are offering me something, I'm usually asking, in the back of my mind, okay, what's in it for them?
Right.
And what's in it for us is we get a family we get to work with through the rest of their days. And what's in it for you is confidence. Really, that confidence in knowing that you have a plan in place. So there is something in it for us, and there's lots of families that we work with on a week by week and year by year basis that, it's our privilege to get to create these plans.
But Cynthia, what the hardest part of the whole thing is?
No.
Picking up the phone and making the first call.
That is true.
It's the hardest part, and it's hard for us. So the painter's house is never painted, right? So when you're going through life and doing those things, for us, it's hard to make appointments for things. We don't want to pick up the phone and figure out our schedule, and it seems daunting, but it's really as easy as going to our website and scheduling right from there and getting the process started.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. Happy 100th episode.
Yes.
To our viewers at home, that number to call, 614-336-7660. What Greg and Kristen are offering you today is the chance to come in, get to know them one-on-one, let them listen to your story, and construct a plan that's going to suit your needs. Thank you for watching 100 episodes of Winning Retirement Television with Greg and Kristen Taylor. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We'll see you again very soon. We love you. Take care.